Okay, here we are, number 13, I think. Who knows? I think we're just gonna get into it. There's not much to talk about besides the fact that we're just modeling this guitar. In fact, I'm gonna bring it up real quick so you don't have to see my file structure. I'm gonna flip over and we're gonna talk about a couple things. Um, Real quick as an overview. I know I don't have any fancy video effects. I know my videos go a little bit long, but I think it's best to run through this whole process with you in case it's something you want to do and you'd like to see it done from start to finish. Um, I think in a lot of tutorials, there's a lot of speeding up or there's a lot of jumping. I think there's a lot of things that are going on halfway between those cuts that you don't get to see. So mine are the full version. We're going to go the whole way, just you and me modeling this thing completely. Um, I think it's I think it's the best option. I think it's the best option so you get the best understanding of how the software works and how you should think about modeling objects that aren't procedural. This is a totally unique shape of a guitar. It's a totally unique uh, uh, shape, period. And you need to know how to make those. Sometimes you don't, but in this case you do. Okay, so Iron Reagan. I got my Iron Reagan shirt on because I'm awesome. It's one of like 12 that I have. So, yeah, go listen to Iron Maiden or Iron Dragon, not Maiden. I mean, they're cool too, but come on. All right, so let's switch over to the desktop here. So here is again the guitar that we're working on. Here is the full size images of the guitar. Today we're going to work on, let's just bring this, what is it? Control Shift Windows T. We are going to make sure that we work on these awesome curvatures here. Um, these curves on the inside, there's a little bit of a bevel here. We're going to make sure we get this shape because these are on the front. We're going to make sure we get that shape. And then we've got this indentation here as well. And then, some of them don't have that, so don't worry. Like this initial one is flat. It does not have any of those inner bevels in it, okay? So we're not going to worry about that. With this one, we're going to make the cool one with the bevels inside. And you can see that on the guy's guitar who this is made for, that he has those bevels here as well. So if we zoom in, you can see that here. There is a slight indentation, a bevel, as well as the smoothing that goes up into the neck. And it's looking like it's one piece here. It looks like the fretboard is pushed up a little bit. Like it's this is one piece of wood, and this is an acrylic lacquer that's put on. That's something we need to think about later. But this fretboard is really tall, and I'm thinking this is actually the piece of wood here, and I don't think the fretboard's that tall. So we'll just consult a couple more images. So that this is only a 6 string. This one 2, 4, 6, 7. That's a 7 string. Okay. And of course we're gonna have to blow in these shapes as well to get that. But that's neither here nor there. That's going to be in the future. I'm just going over, kind of the overview of what we need to do here. This is a 7 string guitar. Most guitars are 6. So that's just something we have to think about when we get down the line. We're going to have to track down these objects. I know these are pickups. I don't know what the hell that's called. Fretboard, frets, neck. I mean, those are, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's actually get to our model here. Okay, so we will minimize that for the time being. So we made 2 versions of this monstrosity, didn't we? Yes, we did. We made actually, something before I go on. Okay, so I'm using my thumb button on the mouse here. Sometimes my hand works better than it does other days, and like I can rotate better, and I don't have to use this guy or what is called the view cube up here to rotate, okay? So the way I do that, you might have Logitech controls for maybe a Logitech mouse or a Razer mouse or whatever type of mouse you have. But in case you don't, and you want the most out of your multi-button mouse, don't worry about these other things. These are all games I've played, whatever. We're focusing on the Autodesk. This goes a ways back because I just bring my settings with me. So when I created these and my hands started going to garbage, it was 2019, so 2020 was out. So now, let's do one of these. Let's put this software right next to so you can see the buttons that pop up while I'm doing it. So, if I left click, you can see that triggers that. If I right click, that triggers the second one. And my mouse button 4, I've set that to a viewport rotation. And I've made this custom script. It's super easy. Alt, middle mouse button, those are the controls in your software. Um, and so these controls work for each specific piece of hardware. So if I was using Illustrator or Photoshop or playing PGA Tour, these shortcuts all change based on the software I'm using. So these scripts, these custom buttons, uh, have different controls for my mouse based on what software I'm using. It's just a nice little thing. It's called X Mouse Button Control. It's free. And so if you have a bunch of buttons on your mouse, or maybe like myself, you can't use the scroll wheel all the time because your hand is garbage, or maybe you can't use the mouse wheel button like me because sometimes my thumb is garbage, um, you can put custom controls on all these. And there's multiple layers. So if you want to go above and beyond what your mouse shortcuts can do, I mean, you can trigger software, you can trigger other keyboard buttons. It's handy. I just wanted to bring it up so you guys could see it. So, X mouse button control. Think about it. I use it all the time. I've been using it for probably 5 or 6 years now. Okay, so what we were gonna do is we were gonna either take this version, which is our spline created version, or I gotta get rid of that edit poly. We're gonna take the spline version, um, or we were going to use my poly version. But what ends up happening when you create a spline object is you most likely convert it into a poly object, and you can do that just by right click, convert to editable poly. Of course, you're gonna lose the stack, and that sucks. So you might want to do some cleanup first. Um, things like how many steps you want this uh, to actually go through when you can go to put an editable poly modifier on there. Um, so I cut it down, right? So there's a lot less edges here. And then the same with the corners. You know, you might not need 4 or 5 here, 4 edges going across. You probably will, and you might even want to chamfer this one. But that's stuff we're going to get into in just a second. Okay. So there's some things we need to think about. We're going to hide this guy for now. We're going to go with the editable poly version because we already covered the front and we put the edges in. They're temporary. They're not perfect. It doesn't matter. So let's go up, open up your layer editor and make sure you have a separate poly and spline version. I'm going to turn off my spline version, and then I'm going to turn on my image plane again so you can see it, and maybe make a folder for like backup stuff, because we're going to get to the point. So just make a new one, call it backup, and then make sure you switch your creation layer back to um, whatever you're building on, maybe the default or maybe the poly. If I create objects with this here, it's going to put it in the backup layer. I want it in the poly layer. So we're going to bring this guy back into the location of the model. So let's pop it right there. And we'll actually go to the front view so we can line it up beautifully. And we might just move it for a couple adjustments. I just want to make sure it's perfect before I go too crazy and get into it. Okay, so let's go like this. You know what? It's not bad. Just move over just a little bit. And then we are going to create the neck and a couple extra niceties, and then we'll probably go from there. Because, like I said, this is one giant piece of wood. That's the type of guitar this is. Some guitars break at the body and the neck and the head. This is all one guitar, or sorry, this is all one piece of wood. It's shaved down, etched from a piece of wood. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of expensive. I looked one up. They're like $1,500. I am definitely not going to buy one of those just to stick on the wall. I'll tell you that. Okay, So what we need to think about now is also the back. So we're going to do that today. We're going to get this rounded bit here. So this is really important, is having this round shape in the back and then how we create and connect the neck to it. Okay. So this is like just it's a complicated shape. It's not day one stuff, which is okay. That's why we're here. That's why I'm going to help you. So let's just get into it. Okay. So what am I going to do first? All right, so I haven't done anything with this. So I apologize if we do some ums and some but let's get through it. I don't think it's this thick. So I'm going to drop this down. So I'm going to get rid of the turbo smooth right now. We'll put it back. What was the edit poly? What did I do here? Oh, I just changed the smoothing group, so we'll get rid of that. That's not a big deal. All right, let's drop the depth of this thing. We can always make it bigger. That's the let's go 6.5. Oops. Up to 5. Right there. Perfect. Okay, now let's like arrange it to the front piece to the actual picture. So let's say effect pivot and turn on your snapping tool. That would be S. S is for that snapping. Is W the so S is for your regular translate snap, and A is for your rotational snap. So S is pretty big. We'll be using that quite a bit. Okay, so let's just move it in the one dimension here, and let's snap it right there. Now, let's turn off your snapping tool, right-click the Y, and let's snug it up right on top. So it looks like this, right? So the front of our guitar is like right on the picture, okay? So that's going to help us a little bit. And in fact, what we could do is press Alt-W and make it transparent also. So Alt-X, sorry. That should give us, why is it doing it? There we go. Alt-X, and now it's transparent. But you can still see the lines on top. It's kind of nice. We could also make this back image transparent if we want. We could like put it on a slider of sorts. But this is going to work for us because we want to select this. We want it on top. Okay, so let's first create the fretboard. Okay, so let's create a cylinder with 16 sides. That's just 2, 4, 8, 16. I go by powers of 2. All right, so create cylinder. We're going to flatten one side. We'll just put it like this. We'll bring it up like that. Obviously, it's way too big. Let's go into the front view and let's align the base. So this is going to be the bottom of our fretboard. And in fact, I think we have too many sides. So let's just drop that down to 16 right now. We can tell because there will be a symmetrical line right down the middle. Turn off your snapping tool. That's not going to help you here. And let's just try to align it at the base. Like so. Let's zoom in here. Where is the base of the fretboard? So probably like right there. And this string is right in the center. So we'll go like kind of like that. And we could also do Alt-X and make sure that it's transparent as well. Now, let's get rid of this picture. Well, we'll get back to it. So now we can just drop the radius because the one thing I didn't get a good picture of, let me actually bring the picture back. The one thing I didn't get a good picture of is that the back of the neck, see, it's not a good picture of it. We'd have to Google it. The back of this neck is really round. It's kind of like a chamfered rectangle here. It's still, we want a symmetrical line going down the middle, but then see, it turns into this shape up here. So we need to be real careful about making sure that this neck is symmetrical, but we want to make sure the width is good, but we want to make sure that it's nice and round on the backside. So that's why I'm saying 16 sides. And then I'm going to drop the radius to whatever the base of the radius is here. So like right there. I might be off a little bit with my location. So just make sure you kind of snug it up to where you think it will be. This is mostly eyeballing. Nothing in 3D modeling is perfect. We can always come back and change things. There are some things that take more time to change, yes. But that's okay. So at the top now, the problem is it's a lot skinnier at the top, but it's also not that tall. So let's change the height, shall we? Let's drop it down to like shit, right there. Because it looks like at this point, maybe it starts curving up and over, right? And at this point, it starts curving up and over. I'm going to get rid of all the height segments. Just, we don't need them right now. Right click the spinner so it goes down to 0. And then let's bring, actually, we could use a taper modifier, but this thing is going to be an editable poly regardless. So let's just editable poly this guy. Let's do add editable poly modifier. Let's grab these up here. Let's go into the 3-dimensional view. We go like this. Oop, the whole thing is not centered on our guitar. So we actually need to move that into place. So let's turn on our snapping. Or actually, just drop it into 0 on the Y. And it's going to plop right on there. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back into the vertex selection. Go up here. Let's do that. Do one of these. Maybe zoom out a little bit. Select all the vertices. I'm selecting the ones behind, just in case. And then I am going to scale this in all the dimensions. Like that. And then I'm going to try to make sure it's... Oops, let's focus that. Z will bring it right back. Using that. I should be using this. And this guy's in the way. So let's pitch that for now. So we'll zoom out. There will be issues when you can't line up perfectly with the image. There is image distortions. Cameras have lenses. Lenses have roundness. Or they're concave or convex. I can't remember which one. And so when you actually end up taking a picture without, taking out the depth, you'll get some bowing. So it might not snug up perfectly, but you don't need to worry about like, oh, it's off by half a pixel on this image. It's fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab all these ones in the front. We're going to flatten them. Okay, so I accidentally screwed up this viewport. I have an undo viewport tool right here. It just undoes these. Like I can go right back. Oh, that's my undo button. Sorry. So let's go back. Let's go forward. There we go. So I have an undo change view, or undo the viewport. So I can like go back. Like, oh, I'm going to stay on my front view, right? And I kind of screwed this up. So you can do that if you want. I can go all the way back till it's back to the front. I think that was my front view. Yeah, because it's orthographic. So there we go, back to the front view. Or right here, there is an undo your last bits. So if you didn't like the zoom you just did or whatever, Shift Z, Shift Y. So undo and redo the viewport. So I just like to keep this one in the front. Anywho, kind of pointless. This is just a nice shortcut to have. All right, so let's go to the front view again. Let's go to the side view. Let's grab all these guys on the side here. So let's blow that up. Let's go here. Let's grab all these and let's try to align them forward. So like that. And let's smash them into Y. Did that smash them into Y? No, it didn't because I missed one. Let's grab all these guys. Right like that. Now smash them in the Y. There we go. Now it's flat. And now we can see that in the 3D viewport just in case. So see how it smashed these in the front like that? It's nice and flat. Now we can move those in to the depth or the distance of the body itself. So we could, pull it in as close as we want. But there's a set of edges right there. So it looks like it comes off just a little bit. It looks like it's a little bit more raised. I know a fretboard goes on to it, but I think that's a little raised like that. There we go. So let's turn off this front reference. And we'll grab both these objects. And we'll just take a look at them, what they look like together without the... Okay, there you go. So now we've got these two objects. They're kind of smashing into each other. I hate this. If you don't click the right spot. There we go. See, and now my thumb tool isn't working, so it's real pain. There we go. So now this one rotates correctly. Anywho, so we will align these edges, and I mean, you could add a symmetry modifier. So I'm just gonna align these edges here. It's a bad color. I don't think you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna grab that edge, turn on my snapping tool, make sure it aligns with this edge right here. It is not snapping the way I want. Oh, it's because that side isn't flat. It is concaved at the top. So what we'll do is do them one vertex at a time. So let's grab this guy and move there. This guy and move here. Same thing at the bottom. We'll just isolate this guy so we can see the whole thing. Just make sure these vertices oh, nope, not that one. Not that one. We'll put it there. That one, and we'll put it there. There we go. So now it looks like we've got, and we could get rid of the bottom here. So you don't have a heart attack about that smoothing group there. And same thing up here. We'll get rid of that guy. Okay, so now the back of the neck, and it's got smoothing groups on it, so it looks a little, it's got a weird shade on the side here. You notice this? This means it's still shading it as it thinks it's a cylinder. So we're going to get rid of all that. There. Now it's got hard edges all the way around. Just like that. Okay, so we got this concave shape at the top. I think the neck is not that thick, right? So we'll go to this top view here. Let's do that, and let's turn our body back on. So I don't think the body is that thick, or the neck in the back is that thick, because you got to imagine that your hand goes around the back. I don't have perfect pictures of it. Probably something I should have thought about, but don't have perfect pictures of it. So we are going to just kind of grab the selections and work them down. And we're going to get like, let's actually put an edge loop in this so we know what the halfway distance of the body is. So we'll just grab an edge. Oops, and add an editable poly for that shape, just so we can have an idea how deep this is. So let's go with ring. Let's just say connect once. Make sure their connect tool is back to okay. And so this is the halfway point of the thickness of the guitar. So this neck would be thicker than the guitar, and that kind of sucks. Like, yeah, might be a little too thick for this neck here. So let's grab this guy and take some of that thickness away. So turn off your snapping tool. I'm just going to envision that the back of this neck is like almost half the thickness, but not really. So we can do both sides at the same time. Something like that. Oops, got too much. So control, click, grab that guy. And move this down. So we'll do the same thing here. Maybe this one goes back a little. It's kind of flat. Like I envision the neck is slightly rounded. And we could turn on our constraints so that it follows up here. Come here, tool. There we go. The edge constraint is up here in the corner. So I'm just gonna make sure that these vertices follow this edge. So they kind of go along with it. So it kind of follows the curvature of what I would expect the neck would look like. And so we'll do that with a couple of these other ones. Just make sure it's nice and rounded. It's gonna follow. I don't like that one. Let's grab that guy. Deselect these guys here. Too many buttons. Going too fast. I'm trying to get an apparatus so I can use Control, Shift, and Alt. but it's taking a little time to find one, but a nice person is helping me build something. So let's see what happens there. All right. So try to move this down like that. And then maybe these two are just want those two. Yeah. Trying to get the perfect selection without having to grab what do you call it? Having to use control. Just trying to cheat. Okay, so like that, pull it down. And then we could scale these inward maybe a little bit just to keep that round shape. Like that. Okay. And then it's all eyeballing, I'm just assuming the back is shallow and rounded, and we'll want to keep that. Okay, so the back of our guitar neck will look like this backside here. Let's focus on it. So like that. The back of the neck is kind of not as shallow as the entire thing. And look, it kind of lines up with the edges here. And we're going to end up smashing these together. Okay, we're not going to, we don't need to Boolean them. You could Boolean them, but I'll show you a cool trick so that things line up really nice. Okay, so let's pretend that we're about to smash these together, which we kind of are. So let's just select these edges. We could do a connect, but instead, let's do a swift loop so we can make sure we drop it right here. And then make sure your edge constraint is on. And now let's rotate this. And it's not going to change the geometry. It's going to change where those vertices are relative to the constraint. Let's move this down like so. And I'm going to get close. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to get it close. Hopefully you can see this. Worried about the colors. Worried about how damn bright that background image is. So I'm just moving this down. And you know what? I'm just going to put it smack dab right on top. So it's kind of like at the exact height of the body there. So you can see it right there. It's kind of the exact height. And then I'm going to chamfer this. So I have a little bit, so I can maybe line up these edge loops just so I know that when I, work them into each other, I got an extra set of edge loops just in case. So let's do one of these and pull it up, maybe add one segment in. Just so we can get an idea of where we need to line these guys up. Okay, because we've got this edge loop can kind of come down. So maybe we'll pull this down a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Like that. Sure. And then we'll bring those edges up to those points, and it's going to be fantastic. All right. So next thing to do, let's just say okay. Next thing to do would be to probably get rid of some polygons, right? Let's get rid of these. Let's isolate this guy. And let's get rid of these back polygons here. And we'll attach it. So this is our neck. All right, so this is a big maneuver, right? It's kind of a big maneuver. Like, oh, we're smashing some things together. So let's do this. Let's duplicate this guy. So let's hit edit clone. Clone. Say copy. Don't do an instance. If you do an instance, same thing is going to happen to the other object. Or if we do a reference, we get that plus. But that's something for later. So I'll say okay. So these objects are both selected. They're in your poly layer. Just drag and drop them into backup. You never know when something explodes. 3D Studio Max has a terrible history of stuff crashing when you don't want it to. I'm just saying, it's kind of a pain. Okay, so let's get rid of these edges here. Actually, you know what? Let's get rid of some faces here. So let's do this. Let's select this guy, and let's just start deleting some faces. So this is just kind of breaking it up so that we eventually add in our edge loops, or our neck for those edge loops. So we can easily get these locations back because we could snap them to the location that they're in. So there we go. So our neck goes down into there. Okay, so it looks like if we bring that together, we don't really need to go much further. So we could get rid of the edge loops on. So let's add this object first. So attach. Boom. Now it's blue. It's probably easier to see now too. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to get rid of this edge loop. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to select that and I'm going to do a loop so I can grab all those. Oops, nope, loop. I want a ring, not a loop. It just depends which U or V direction. So ring, there we go. Boom, gone. Okay. So now we've got these nice faces and we're going to start connecting our model to this. We probably don't need these back edge loops here because we're going to smooth those into the back. So we're just going to connect the front for now. So let's just get rid of, what's that, symmetrical? Yeah, let's get rid of those guys right there. Okay. And then we've got these edges here that we need to get rid of on the front. So let's get rid of that guy. And let's get rid of this guy that's behind there. It's hiding. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. All right, so now we just build up our model into this model, right? It's as simple as that. Okay, so let's just get rid of this guy. And we could start snapping things into place if we'd like. So this vertex right here, or this edge, is lining up right here with this in the y-axis. So what we're going to do is we'll just snap this. So turn your snapping tool, rotate it a little bit, and just drop in like so. There we go. Okay. And then we'll get the rest in a little bit. In fact, maybe we could just add an edge loop through this guy so it lines up here. So let's do a loop. Where's a ring? It's a ring. There we go. We'll do a connect. And then let's snug it up to that edge there. Let's go like this. And now it's right at the distance of that one. So technically we could, well, I guess we didn't need to, snap it to that spot. We could have just target welded it, right? So let's do a target weld here. Let's go like that and like that. Okay. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Like that. Let's go like this. And technically, we could just get rid of this edge or set of edges here. Let's get rid of that. And we'll just target weld some stuff. So let's target weld. So go to vertex, or you could do the edge. It really doesn't matter. Target weld this guy here to that, this guy there to that. Okay, so we got some edges over here, but these ones start kind of going into the back, so we're not going to make those yet, okay? So now we've got this set of edges here that look like they come straight down. So what we'll do is just snap this here and snap that one here, because this board is offset only slightly from the body, okay? So we'll need to bring that down. And we can get rid of these front polygons pretty easy because they are in a good spot. So let's just select these guys. And we will not worry about the back, because the back, we have to do that crazy swoop. Let's bring this picture back up. We have to do this crazy swoop in the back that is different from the front. Notice the front is connected to the neck. The back has this awesome swoop. So I'm going to show you how to do that awesome swoop, and then we'll start kind of putting it together, right? So let's keep this up here as a reminder. We will minimize it just a little bit. Keep in mind the crazy swoop. Our swoop looks accurate in the front, but now I'm worried about the back. Okay, so the swoop begins from maybe... So we're going to destroy some surfaces, but that's okay. So I'm just going to grab this. Let's just start deleting stuff, really, honestly, because... So I'm going to delete those. And I'm going to delete these. Oops. I guess it doesn't matter if I... Oops. I can just delete it. Delete this guy. And then grab the selection through the middle here and maybe delete these guys. I can always rebuild these surfaces, but technically they need to be... It needs to have this crazy drop, you know, and maybe these vertices are in the way. So let's turn off your snapping tool and let's just move these down quite a bit because I don't know exactly how far this swoop is going to go. Because the swoop looks down, it comes pretty like it's like, well, I'll show you a cool way to do it. All right. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just hold shift, grab that edge, hold shift and drag. Okay, now we've got free floating edge. Cool, right? Awesome. Let's arrange it so that when we extrude, we don't get overlapping geometry like this. Like that. I'm doing this so maybe you can see where my buttons are, just so you don't get too worried. All right, so go back to edges, and let's just bridge. We don't even need to... We could extrude and then weld, but bridging is select an edge, select another edge, and voila, you've created a surface. Okay. So let's pretend we're going to extrude, or we're going to extend this edge and this edge all the way in their direction. So let's do the front view. Let's go here, and then let's flip it around. Okay, so now we have it lined up exactly. And I want to know, so this line, I want it to follow this line here. So this edge, so this vertex needs to follow that edge. And if I did it, it'd be like right there. Same thing with this one. So maybe it's like over here a little bit. Maybe it's over there a little bit. And like these ones are in the way, but I mean, we could move them out of the way, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be doing something fancy. Okay, so let's just kind of align these a little bit more like it's extending. Because if we're looking at the back here, we're going to be chamfering this line so then it swoops. Okay, because right now it's a V. Okay, so let's grab these guys, move them down just out of the way for now. Let's create this whopper of a V. Okay, now it might even need to go down further. We can fix it after the fact, but I want to have like a perfect geometrical swoop, and then I can do the dirty work of putting the vertices or building the polys in between these two. Okay, so let's say this is perfect. Yeah, it kind of extends straight from this vertex. Maybe this one's off a little bit, but it extends straight from that one. Okay, so now let's grab this edge. We're gonna bevel this or chamfer this too many times, and then we can take out surfaces. Okay, so let's do a chamfer. Hit the settings button. First, let's just up the amount. And so already if I up the amount, look at that. Okay, we got part of a swoop. It's not enough though, is it? Nope. So let's add some segments. Still not enough. And it's not going in the right dimension, right? Like I kind of want it to be a U shape. This is like a U, but it's following. So change this to uniform. And now let's just go all the way up. All the way up. And it's kind of gonna screw up the see how it screws up here in the corner. The normals are a little bit miffed because they're stacked on top of each other. When you do this, it creates an extra set of vertices. Okay, so look, see how it smacks on top? If I go up, smacks on top, but look, all the segments below, they like line up in the right direction. Pretty snazzy, right? And now you have a good swoop. This is exactly the swoop we're looking for. Okay, now some strategy. If we're going to do this, we want to make sure that the edge loops start lining up. So what we can do is add too many segments. Okay, let's add too many segments because we can always take them away, right? So I'm looking at this right here, like, ooh, that's a good, like, okay, so let's break this. Let's go here. So like I added this many segments in. I probably want to chamfer this. Ooh, bridge this. Ooh, I probably want to bridge that. And I'm thinking over here, ooh, I want to bridge this, but this might line up because there's too many. Well, I can move these. It has created so many segments. It's almost created an artificial curve so that we can define when there's too many or too little, but we can remove extra edges and remain with that great, I'm calling it the swoop. We can remain with this great swoop. Okay, so let's undo my viewport that I screwed up because I still want it smashed in this dimension. There we go. So we could even add a couple more segments. You could go crazy, right? Like then you could really, but you're going to take out too many. So I think 14 was probably solid. Where was that at? 14 comes after 13 and before 15. There we go. Let's go 14. That's 13. Maybe 15? Do I like that? 15? No, I like 14. Because then I can kind of just move these into place. They're not perfect, but that's going to give us a lot of leeway to remove and just keep the edge sizes, keep the poly sizes exactly the same. Okay, so we're going to say okay. Now the problem is up here, oof, you've got vertices stacked on each other, and I can prove it. Well, I proved it before, but if I click and drag, look, there's hidden vertices. That sucks. Well, what you can do, if they're perfectly stacked on top, select weld, and they're going to disappear. Okay? You can't do that every time. Now, if you click and move these, magic, it's gone. All right? That's some David Blaine stuff right there. And the same thing happening to the other side, right? So let's do the same thing. Let's click and drag. Oof. Is there stuff? Oh, yeah, look at that. There's an extra set. There's an extra set of verts in there. That's no bueno. So let's undo that. Leave them on top. What you can do, is just grab those and weld, or there's an even cooler trick. So let's pretend I didn't do this. Let's undo. I gotta undo all this stuff. Okay, so let's undo. And let's do it again. I'm gonna show you the cool trick. All right, so you got edges here. Let's do the same thing. Select that edge, press the chamfer button, make sure you go all the way up, or well, make it uniform. Go all the way up, then change it to 14, or whatever your settings are. Yours might not look like mine. Maybe 15 works better for you. Okay, press OK. And now it's still got those edges selected, right? The ones that you chamfered. So now just hit Control and remove. They're gone, and these edges line up. It's perfect. Okay, so now if I go to vertex, click and drag, they're gone. So when you do that, the edges are already selected, so the work is basically done for you. So just Control remove. Okay, holding Control when you remove will get rid of the entire selection, including the vertices. Okay, so let's pretend we want to start bridging over here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's grab this guy. Let's grab this guy. Now these are way too big of polygons for what we got going. Select and then Control remove. Okay, now it got rid of some of the topology, but that's okay because we're going to use some functionality afterwards to get more rounded shapes. So now bridge and go bing, bing. Look at that. What do you think we do here? Ooh, maybe the same thing. This edge might not line up perfectly, but it looks pretty dang close. So let's do it again. Because we can always move it on that edge using a constraint. So hold Control and hit remove. Looks great. Oops, I didn't hold Control, did I? Nope, because look, I got some floating vertices right here. So if you got that, remove. Okay, so now let's go to edge and let's bridge again. Boom. What time is it? Oh my God, it's almost 4 o'clock. There is a pay-per-view tonight, and that is what I'm doing. Okay, so maybe that edge doesn't line up as perfectly as you like, and I blew up this perspective. So let's just undo my perspective. And again, I think it's Control Y. Shift Z. Undo, rotate. So I've been using this orthographic view instead of a perspective. I like to keep it snapped to the back. So I could just click here, or I could do undo, redo. I have these shortcuts here. I'm going to make a video on how to make shortcuts. I think they're very handy. I use these tools, like I said, I'm disabled as hell, and it just saves me a lot of time. Okay. All right. So let's see. So if I want to chamfer this one, it looks like this doesn't line up perfectly. Maybe I could do one of these and like, I don't know, do one of this, maybe connect, maybe drop it just a hair. So I keep that rounded shape. And then let's get rid of this guy and the one next to it. Hold Control. Now hit remove. Boom. All right. Now we do the old chamferino. Go back to the perspective view. Let's stop screwing up our back view. And big in this. There we go. Now let's bridge. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Pretty sweet, right? Okay. So, anywho, that is the trick there. Okay, so we're going to do something similar and stop wasting our time because we can do it one at a time and that's fun. I think you get the process, right? It's not a super complicated process. Okay, so let's do this. Let's grab this guy and let's grab along. I think you can hold shift and then it'll just grab down the line, but I'm control clicking because I do that. Okay, so we're going to make a bit of edge looping, or sorry, a bit of extruding these edges. Okay, so like I said before, use your old trusty shift and drag. I'm gonna pull this straight down. I'm gonna pull this straight forward. Okay, it doesn't really line up. I know it doesn't look great. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's get rid of my keyboard. You don't need to see that. But let's keep looking at this. It's beautiful, right? Oh God, it's beautiful. It's perfect. So now let's look at our edges and maybe try to like line them up with these edges we have down here, right? Because we want these, they go out a little too far there. In fact, we could just align them to the Z, or no, it's the Y. So let's hit Y. No, it's the X. No, I think it was the Z, folks. There we go. Okay, so now they're lined up, flattened against that dimension, right? Perfect. Let's move them in the right place. Let's go back up to our front view. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of these, one of these. And so let's kind of put these vertices where you think they'd go. Okay, so we need like a halfway point. Maybe this one. Maybe that'll line up with that one really well. Let's move down here. Looks like we want to, so we're going to be ballparking these edges and we'll probably have to put our own in. But this kind of gave us a rough estimate of where our edge loop needs to connect. Ooh, that one lines up real nice, right? That's good. Yeah, that's real good. And maybe one of these. And then maybe this one. But this swooping shape kind of goes out. So we're going to move this maybe up to here. And we're going to move this up to maybe here. And then this is the symmetry. Right? It's right down our body. So we'll keep this here because this signifies the symmetrical nature of our body here. And then maybe let's pull this one over to like there. And we'll do the same thing with the next set of edge loops. So we can actually use the edge constraint. Maybe just pull it over this way. Keep the edges where they should be. Maybe like that. Maybe the same thing here. Maybe go up a little bit. Maybe start working up a little bit with that one. It's kind of like we're mapping out where we might want to go. Okay. So turn off the edge constraint because then you can't go anywhere from here. So maybe let's grab these two and let's like move them down a little bit, like over here. Move it up right there. Maybe move that one right here. Might need another edge loop here because we're going to have some chunky geometry. We don't want it to overlap. Maybe we'll move this guy over here. And we could do one of these. Maybe move this guy down. This is the swoop, right? So we want this swoop to be just as delicious as that swoop, right? So let's move up like that. Biggity bam. So now we've kind of got these edges that line up where we want to go. And we could move this guy over because we're classy. So turn on your edge snap or your edge constraint. Just drag this guy over. It's going to hang on to those edges. And if you want to snap them up, if you want to be a classy individual, you could click that, make sure it snaps to that spot. Same thing with the bottom one, snaps right to the spot. We could do that here just so we know it snaps to that location. We could do this one. Actually, that one goes too far. It's a little gross. It's a little gross. We don't want that. We could grab them both. We could slide them down. Oops, too far, too far, too far, too far. Not far enough, not far enough. Oh, it's getting crazy. There we go. We wanted it right there. It's exactly what we wanted. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have like way too many edge loops. Turn off your snapping tool. We have too many, well, edges. They're not looping, but we have too many edges, right? So we need to get rid of like these ones. We got to get rid of like that one. And it's super simple, right? So grab your edge tool or your edge mode, select an edge that you want to get rid of, hold control, and just start snagging these, the ones that you're going to get rid of, because you're going to connect these. Oh, you're going to do it. If you want this delicious guitar, you're going to do it. Select like that. Select like that. Boom! We got them selected. Hold control. Remove. Look at that. We have maintained. Look how we maintained the curvature, right? Ah, God, it's beautiful. It's maintained. Do you see how maintained it is? It's so maintained. So let's go back to our 3D view here. Let's get that knocked out. Oh, that edge looks a little crazy there, right? Yeah, now that, so we will definitely need to maybe forgo these ones right here. Like those ones are a little crazy right there, right? Let's get rid of those for now. We'll rebuild them. We just put them there for fun. Okay, we got an extra edge here. I don't think we need that one. You can control, remove. Okay, and now let's just blast these together, right? Let's put those together. Let's target weld them, shall we? So, target weld, boom. We'll do this one, target weld, boom, and then we'll do this last one. Bink, bink, right there. All right, awesome. Check that out. That is so, it's just, You know what I mean? It's, Okay, I think this vertice got off its axis. So the reason I want to keep it is so that when we, so I'm just going to use my snapping tool and snap it in this dimension. There we go. So I got a little off. And you know what this one did too? Maybe we'll get it back into action there. You know, I moved them off, but when I do that same awesome chamfer technique, we're going to get a sweet swoop. Sweet swoop. Tell your friends. Okay. So we could turn off our snapping tool, get a couple more delicious looking geez. It's hard having to dictate every stupid move. Bridge. You could do some sweet bridges over here. So we could bridge this guy just to get our idea of where they're gonna go. That looks nice, right? That's kind of cool. I mean, we'll have to move those down because it looks weird, right? So select that guy. Don't have your constraint on. There are shortcuts for constraints. I don't know what they are. You should look them up if you care. If you don't care, don't worry about it. There we go. So it's starting to smooth down. It's not too shabby. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Okay, so just for fun, let's just put a turbo smooth on this thing. See that? Put a turbo smooth on that. We get some sweet smoothing action. And if we turn on the smoothing groups, bam, look at that. Oh my God. And look at the back of this. Oh my God. It's like coming together. Can you believe it's coming together? It's like coming together. but that's not the end result. All right, so let's keep plugging away. Okay. Ugh. All right, it's my crusty. So we are going to delete some stuff because we need to build our own surface here. So we're going to say goodbye to that. Let's see. We're going to say goodbye to that one. We're just kind of symmetrically planning where we're going to put these edges, right? So like I want this edge to come down and do a nice, I want to like nicely follow edge loops around the neck, right? And so by that, I mean, let's just put in some more. So I'm going to use the Swift Loop tool because it's going to go in direction with what I'm creating here. And I'm just going to... Nah, that's not right. Okay, so we're actually going to do that fancy move here where we chamfer the hell out of that and then watch the magic that the chamfer tool does for us. Chamfer. Okay, that's way too many. In fact, we could just use try that time so it'll line up better. And then let's just drop the segments down to like 3 or 4. That looks nice, right? Maybe one more. Maybe 2 more. We can always take them out. I just want this edge loop to like correspond right there. Okay, so maybe we got too many, but we'll take them out. So hit OK. And now control remove, right? Because it stacks up when you blow up a chamfer that far. So there. Now there's not extra vertices. It's fantastic. It's a baller way to model. Okay, so now let's bridge this guy right here. Ding. Bridge that guy right there. Ding. Now, this is a bit of a bridge. Oh, that's a bit of a stretch. Oh god, that stretches too. Oh, it hurts, doesn't it? It kind of hurts. It's a little bit of a stretch. But let's consider now which set of edge loops will be the center because we just want to line them up with this across. We will get to knocking out the rest of this in a minute, but I kind of want like a halfway point, like what's the halfway distance of my edges on the body, right? That's this guy. Well, I want the edges in my neck too to line up. So it almost looks like maybe I have too many edges. Just there's a lot of detail in the edges now, right? So let's do this. Let's double click this edge, turn on your edge constraint, and let's scale it so it's kind of flat, but it's still gonna follow that. And like maybe that's the halfway edge. Does that look okay? Does that look okay? No, that's not the edge. Okay, so that's not going to be the one. It's going to be the next one. So undo that so it goes back to where it was. So it looks like it's going to be this guy right here. So this is going to be it. Okay. So I'm just trying to get like a halfway point to where we're modeling from. In case we have too many edge loops, which it really looks like we do, but we're getting this great curvature, but this curvature is too dense because we did one too many chamferinos on it. So let's just get rid of that. We still have the shape. See, control remove. We generally have the same shape, right? It's looking pretty good. And we can always put them in afterwards. It's just kind of like a, it's kind of more of like a, where are we going to line these things up to? So anyway, okay, so let's make a couple more bridges. Let's bridge a couple more things here. And this is eyeballing, right? It's just trial and error. And you're going to see that these bridges are way too far. So we are going to move edges so that we get this smooth neck shape and all that smooth neck flavor. So that we can round it out and not worry about like, ooh, we don't have enough, it's going to smooth funky because we don't have edges. So right here, I'm thinking, maybe we don't need this edge, right? Because if I pull that to there, well, I'll just show you what I'm thinking. So I'm going to turn on the vertex mode, and I'm going to follow the edge of this vertex and the one above it. So you can see what I'm talking about when I want to smooth this. You know, like I want to move this up here. I want to move this over here. Oops, nope. I want to move this up and over, right? So I kind of get this more, it's like the vertices are a lot more rounded out because it's following the surface better. And I want to do the same thing here, but I can't really do that quite yet. Um, we might have to snap that there and then bring that up. So let's do the same thing over here. Oops, see I moved it when I selected it. Don't do that. Be careful. Sometimes you want to just hit Q before you select something so you know you don't move it. So I'm going to pull that over there. This one is too far. I'm going to pull that over there. What the hell was that? It is coming up to 4th of July. Oh, it's 4 o'clock on the dot. Oh my God. So they have this dumbass party in my city, and the cannon goes off. And I'm sure you could Google this if you want. You can figure out where I live. The cannon goes off on the hour, and it gives the pets in my house and the people, being me, a little bit of a stroke, which is super cool. Super cool. So a little stroke there. We're fine. We're fine. We're alive. It's fine. Okay. So, we got a little bit of stretching here, and it worries me because the edge loops will be kind of janky. So when it comes down to this smooth, we might end up adding another edge loop here, so we get more of like smoothing and more surface area. But let's just finish it off. Let's just get the shape we want, and I'll show you how it finishes. So like that, and like that, right? It's a bit of a stretch. It hurts to look at. I know, I know, I know. Let's pull it over. It just looks kind of. It's not my best work. I suppose I could have prepared for this a little bit better, couldn't I? Yeah, probably could have. Okay, so let's get rid of this. I got stuff going on, man. I do other stuff. You're checking out my video. It's just, like I do other stuff, man. And then let's remove those. Okay, so now we got that. We can just finish this up. Now, like I said, it's a little janky. I think we need more consecutive edge loops like well, I'll show you. So we could just cap these guys. You can just, because they're borders, you can just say cap. And then you can do the same thing here. Cap. Tra-la-la-la. Okay. So it looks a little janky. Looks like it needs some more edge loops. And I don't disagree with that. It's because if we turbo smooth this, we've got a bad knot here and a bad knot here, right? So what are we going to do? Okay, so let's go back. Kind of put these vertices back where we found them. Still a little bit. Those ones don't need to be stretched out so far. Let's bring that back. Let's do that here also, because that's too much of a stretch. Do the same thing there. Too much of a stretch. And I think we're okay there. So what we could do is we could put this back in. Right there. Put that back in. Put a cut right in the middle of it. Oops, not a cut, sorry. Connect. Turn off the edge constraints. We just want that to be loose so it looks nice. And we'll do the same thing here because it's too much of a jump. Connect. Maybe pull this down to remain that roundedness right there. Ooh la la. Gorgeous, right? And let's just draw the lines. Let's just use the cut tool. We'll figure it out. We'll figure the rest out later. Let's go like that. And then, we will worry about the extra edges right now. So we could do one of these. Make sure it's constrained. On that. Then we're going to cut straight down here. So let's just do a cut and we'll wiggle that out in a minute here, like so. Do the same thing with that one. Fix it up in a minute. So we got some crazy edges here that we don't need, right? Like, let's get rid of these terrible extra edges that make us look like we don't know what we're doing. And we'll actually continue that edge loop. So this is a bad way to continue an edge loop. I should have known rather that we needed to continue that edge loop in that direction, because then we can line up extra polys. I should really do that video of how to like speculate where your polygons are going to go. That would be helpful if you're following this channel at all. So boom, remove. Okay, so now we got this stupid floaty thing here, right? Like this floating edge. This looks a little bit better. We do have a knot right there. I don't like that knot. I think we can still kind of follow more of an edge loop and maybe continue it out that way so that we don't have such a janky edge loop there, because it's kind of bush league. But then, you keep moving it out. So it's really, it needs to be somewhere where we can hide this knot. So by knots, what is a knot? Okay, a knot is where you have a star. So technically, you should be able to detect this on your own now. So there's three-sided, so there's a tri-knot and a what is it? A pentaknot. This is a pentaknot, right? So let's just turn on the selection tool so you can see this. This is an expanding knot. So you see here, it goes in 5 directions. Okay, see how it goes in 5 directions? Technically, you got a pentagon here. I mean, if that side's flat, but you got 5 edges. Now the other one is only 3, and that is when you want to reduce, right? You can reduce the amount of polygons. I will explain that in the future. So anyways, let's get rid of, oh no, I like that was there. So let's do one of these. Let's do a ring. Let's connect it. Let's put that ring around it. And notice they're kind of a little off, so we'll fix that. And then we'll just cut these together so they exist together as friends. Look at that. Oh, we're a friendly edge loop. Let's select these guys and let's scale them in the same dimension, or just, whatever. Let's scale them. Let's scale them, and then let's do a, make sure that your edge constraint is on. There we go. See how now they're in the same dimension. They will be flat down this dimension. They'll line up completely. And we'll pull this down to the edge a little bit. Like so. Kind of symmetrically. See, there's an edge right here. We could measure that distance and create the same. So maybe we'll just eyeball it for now. We'll just squint. And okay, so now yep, all right, whatever. That distance, or this edge distance right here, looks kind of like that one right there. It's close, it's not perfect. If you squint, it's good enough. Okay, so let's get back to this guy. Let's take a look. Some of the edges aren't perfect. Kind of hurts my brain. Could be better. We'll fix that. We'll tidy this up in a minute. The back is open, but let's just take a look at the swoop. Okay, let's do a turbo smooth. Let's deselect everything and get out of that. Hit turbo smooth. And the back of this isn't half bad. It's not bad. It could use a little, like, that could be pushed down, because like if you look at this guy, it's very smooth into the neck and the back, which I should collect more pictures for. I'm sorry, guys. I will collect more pictures. But this is really the best angle of the thing. We want this same awesome, beautiful swoosh. Okay. So I think we're close. We do need to work on our edge loops a little bit. There is a knot right here. If we crank this up a little bit, it won't be so bad. I still see it. It changes how the light hits it, right? So we'll fix that up. There's some cool tricks that we could do right now, though. So let's undo. Let's get rid of the turbo smooth. Let's look at the smooth. Okay, so this smooth, look at that. That's flat right there. That's whack. So let's go to this back view. Let's go like this. Let's go like this. And let's go like this. Okay. So let's kind of arrange these vertices because we know they come down in a swoop. So like this needs to be brought down. Okay, this needs to be brought down. Kind of like right there. And then this guy needs to be brought down. Oh God, how he needs to be brought down. He needs to be brought down and put in his place. And maybe this one needs. Oh shit! I had the edge constraint on. I didn't realize that. It's gonna follow the edge, and that's not what I want. I just want to move it down vertically. Okay, let's do that again, but with none selected. There we go. Okay, so I want that in like that. I want the swooping shape. Everything that has nice curvature to it. I'm talking about these vertices going this way, right? I don't want like this one here and this one here. That doesn't smooth well. What does smooth well is right there, going like this, right? Making sure that there's a nice edge flow. That is a cool phrase to use on your forums or when you're telling your parents that, oh, I'm doing 3D modeling. Oh, what's that? Well, it's really a science of edge flow because it is. But, it's cool nomenclature. So, clature that nomen, baby. And pull it down like so. Okay, maybe down a little bit more. Just get this nice and smoothical. Like that. Just kind of move it down. If I had thought about this, I would have like made a model that made me look like really smart about 3D modeling. But I just like, hey, I like this death metal band. Let's like just make his guitar. We've never made a guitar before. We could just do that. But if I just think about it, and then I did, and I am, and I wish I had like, planned this out. So maybe I could have like thought harder and given you better execution. But off the cuff is good too, because that's what everybody does on YouTube, right? Ooh, what's popular today? Let's make a video. And not think it through. All right, so just keep working on these edges. Now, this needs to be a swoop too, okay? So this needs to come down. We are barreling down this swoop here. We can always adjust it. It's just me talking trash about YouTube. No big deal. The thing that I'm currently using that I hate, but there's not a better system. Whoosh. All right, maybe this one. I mean, this is maybe fine tuning stuff you guys don't care about, but we're going through it. I'm telling you, it's important. Oh man, I accidentally right click. See, if you like right click, left click real fast, you will collapse your stack, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter now. We put an edit poly on top of a shell. It's not like we can affect the shell modifier now. In fact, I can prove it to you. It'll explode. Um, yeah, so we might need to split this up here and like make another edge loop. Like, see how this comes to a point right here? Like, it's kind of janky. So we might want to split this and like put another edge loop through here. And it's just trial and error of what looks nice, but that's the biggest gap, right? There's a big gap right here. And this I just know is is one of those 5 pointed knots. Um some people call them poles, Poles. I call them knots. I call them knots because they in my experience, if you smooth them, if you don't have them taken care of well, um, they create kind of a knot in your surface. Okay, so we're gonna stick with that for now. Let's see how far we've come. Actually, I should have had a before and after of the where the body's at, so you can see what we did before and where we're at now. But I'm kind of particular where I put the edges. I want it to be perfect. I want the edges to be nice, especially if we're janking up that set of edge loops. And maybe we'll just add that in real quick. It's not like it's not like it takes real long. All right, so it's just like, gotta put an edge loop in. Sucks. Oh, it's because we don't have any surface right there. Yeah, so we're gonna need surface there first. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say we need to add some surface across the front because it's very naked. It's naked. Oops, don't do that. Undo that. Undo. There. Ah, where'd it go? Just press Z. Okay, that is gone. What happened to my viewport? I have buttons held? Standard, perspective. How about let's go back to front? Front. There we go. If your viewport ever goes bananas, just front. Not really, but okay. So we got a big sexy gap in the front of this guy, right? So what are we to do? Okay, so let's just start modeling and we can always fix up the edge loops later. Because well, I mean, this front fretboard piece is going to be a single smoothing group. Because we're probably going to use smoothing groups on this. Well, maybe we won't. No, we will, because there's a lot of different shapes on this. And then we'll do in between smoothing groups, which we haven't talked about. We just talked about different groups. There's actually in between groups so that the smoothing is soft. It's very soft. It's very nice. I did it again. Don't do that. Don't right click and left click real quick. You will collapse your stack. Even though it doesn't matter. Even though it doesn't matter because I've already ruined my stack. Okay, so I got this edge loop here. What you can do is just shift and drag down to your heart's content. But what I would do, ooh, they delivered my Amazon package. Okay, so let's bring it down to like right now. And then we got some verts on the side. And what we'll do, oops, yeah, is we'll snap those up. But we need to extend it quite a bit down because the front had the, let's just target weld these vertices here. So target weld that guy right there. And then do the same thing on the other side. This one right there. Target weld. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's grab that same selection. I don't remember how far down it went, but kind of sucks because now I don't remember exactly. That's why I should have kept that. Yep, I should have kept that shape. You should have kept that shape. Okay, so that front piece, right? The backup piece. So thank goodness I still have it, right? So if I pull this straight down, it will not match. See the edges? It's not going to match here. It's terrible. Boo. Okay. So thank goodness I kept that shape, right? I could follow the vertices down if I wanted to, I suppose. But let's just do this. We're just going to put these, make sure your snapping tool is on, and we're just going to get them back down right there in the corner. And we'll do the same thing here. And then I'll chop them up accordingly later. I just wanted to make sure that that shape, because this is a big tapered flat surface. Tapered means it's skinnier at the top and wider at the bottom. I just want to make sure I have those corners in place, and then we can re-up and fix up the edge loops after the fact. It's just having that shape because it is raised off the body. I'm glad I kept it. Otherwise I would just kind of have to eyeball it. I could maybe follow the normal and drag it down, but this is just an example of why I keep some of the base stuff, right? And I could just do one of these. It's lazy, but I could bridge this surface like that. And that is actually the shape. It's just I kind of BS'd my way to it. So yeah. Yeah. That sucks. But it's there. It's over. It's history. So let's just get rid of these real quick. Yeah, and let's just say control remove. What would that do? Can't remove it. Interesting. All right, so how about that? It's because that face was broken. Well, it's okay because we got the corner down there is in the right place. So we can just get rid of that. We'll get rid of these. And then we could just re-bridge these gaps down here. Maybe cut, bridge. Yeah. So we'll just rebuild that surface. So, oops. We can just rebuild, do a bridge on the front here. And straight across. And I missed it. It's not where I want to bridge to. I suppose I could just grab these edges, right? These selections are tough. Don't do what I did. Should have kept those front. Should have kept those front faces. Would have made life easier. Anyway, drag this across. Tra-la-la. And now we got the bottom. Oh, this. All right, let's do this. Let's go into poly mode. And let's just show these and hide everything else. So there's some cool stuff. So on the right here, there is hide selected or hide unselect. Let's hide unselected. Ooh, now we don't have like crap in the way. That's kind of nice, right? It's for when you really need to get up in there. So let's get back up in there. Let's pull this guy in. And I forgot that face. Forgot the face. Say unhide all. I want that face. I want that face. And I want that face. And now that I'm zoomed in, it would be easier. But if we unhide all, or sorry, if we hide unselected, now we can just easily do the target weld of our choice. You could do vertices or edges. I don't care. I just want it done. That one there. Cool. Awesome. It's over. It's history. Okay, now we have the same shape. Face is a little off. What is that about? Should be lined up. Shouldn't have this mark in the middle, but it's probably because of all the bad geometry in front of it. Okay, so now unhide all in faces. So select that, and then unhide all. And now technically it's still hiding your vertices, which is really stupid. So if you go into vertex mode, oh, I can't select any. So you need to make sure that you unhide all vertices. And now they're back. Cool. Cool as a cucumber. Okay, so maybe we want to, jeez. So we made a mess because these vertices aren't connected to anything, right? That sucks. So like, I'll have to divide this up and then weld those together, and then it's just maintenance, like the worst, right? So I guess I'll just do that real quick. That sucks. Okay, what we could do is just select this guy, go like this, and select ring. There you go, and now just say connect. And then how many edges do we have in here? Segments, rather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and they're off because it's tapered, right? So that kind of sucks. And now we can just target weld. It's gonna look a little janky. Target weld. Target weld. Target weld. I guess we didn't want to target weld that one. But anyways, we want to target weld the center one. We want that one to be lined up with the other ones just because it was like a nice line of symmetry for the fretboard. So let's do that. And let's grab these two down here. Make sure they are lined up as well. So yeah, we made a little bit of a mess with that one. Didn't we? I feel like we did. Looks like we did. Anyways, we could, I suppose we could clean this up. Get to do all the crappy work and look like an idiot because I did this one bad move. Because I deleted the front. I just wanted the front. You know what I'll do? I'll probably just rebuild it from that one piece. Yeah, yeah, I could do that. I could rebuild it from that front piece. So what I'll do for now is grab this front piece and I could just delete it. And look, there was some floating geometry. So thank God I did that, right? Because it was hidden. And then we could just pretend like these edges never happened down here. And we'll be right where we were before. Okay, so let's move that back up. Make sure your snapping tool isn't on. Well, no, it's bowed out. So we know where the base idea is. Anywho, let's see if we bring in our neck here. Yeah, see, if we bring in our neck, it's like beautiful. It's exactly where it needs to be. So we could just duplicate that into place. And look at that. I didn't even align it right. Jeez. Look at that. The bottom was off. Look at that. The corner was off. The corner was off. The corner was off. There's the vertices, and there's where they need to be. Oh, terrible. I'm terrible. Okay, so we'll do some surgery here real quick. So let's do that right now. So luckily this body is in the same place as it was. Okay, so let's make another duplicate. So let's clone this. Let's say copy. And it is directly at 0. So we'll just move it out of the way for a sec. We're going to hide the original. Or hide the remake of the original, right? And we're going to get rid of some of these faces. Oops. Let's get rid of this guy. I just want to get the front done so that I also have an image for the bookmark. I don't want to be like or the thumbnail. I don't look like some like dude that like did a bunch of cool stuff when you guys weren't looking, and then all of a sudden it's terrible. Make sure by angle is not selected. Delete that. Delete that. Yes, I know faces are missing, but we can rebuild those very quick. So we've got this awesome duplicate object here. So first, let's just grab the edge loops and detach them. So we just need this extension in the front. Double click there. And do the same thing here. Double click there. And there's a split button. Okay, so the split button will detach the front from the back. So now if we go to this mode, look at that. We got the whole, oops. Don't have constraint on. Okay, so now if we pull this in the right dimension, it is not connected anymore. See, we got this kind of cap piece, right? So let's undo that. Let's just get rid of the back. So if we double click this whole thing, oops. If we click that one, we can just dispose of it. Okay, wonderful. So now let's put this guy back to 0. Okay, so just right click it so it goes back into the Y exactly where it was. But bam, look at that. All the edges line up and everything because we didn't move anything. Except for maybe that. We might have moved that, but we can fix that. Okay, so let's get rid of the extra edges we got that we need to not have stacked up. Let's double click that. On the other side. Double click that. Okay, let's attach this front neck piece that is tapered perfect and correctly. So let's now zoom in on these spots here. Make sure that they are absolutely on top of each other. And I bet they are because we use the same objects. If I select that, look at that. It says 2 vertices selected. How do I get my mouse to do the thing? There we go. So right here, whenever you have a selection, you can see that? Yep, darkens. You can always see what you have selected. So if I select a few of them, I have 4 vertices selected. I know these 2 are stacked up. In fact, I know these ones are stacked up. In fact, I know the other ones are stacked up because we use that same shape, right? So let's zoom out. Let's just grab the whole neck area, everything around it. Let's just say weld, because it's welding at a very small tolerance, 0.1. Say okay. And now we should only have one vertice in that same spot. Let's make a marquee just cause. Oop, says vertex 618. Looks like it's only one. And it is. Okay. So now we're back where we were. Kind of a little bit of surgery on vertices, or sorry, surgery on surfaces here. So let's just add some edge loops, and let's just call it a day. Boy, am I sick of this model. I wasn't even planning on doing this today. In fact, I was thinking about giving up, because it's fun, but I don't know. I hope it's helping somebody. It's just, I'd be doing it anyways, I guess, is what I'm saying. So, anywho, let's finish this up real quick. We're going to add an edge loop here so that we can kind of create a shape here. So let's just do a swift loop like this. We'll do that. And we can rotate it. Make sure your edge constraint is on. So it only constrains those edges to that angle. Like so. It's not going to be perfect to the other one. That doesn't really matter. I just want them close. In fact, yeah, I don't really care. I could just pull this guy up, in fact. Like that. There we go. Okay. So that one's off, but we can always adjust those later. And then we'll bridge. Turn off that constraint just in case. It can always screw with you. So let's bridge here. Let's bridge right. Huh. And in fact, we could just bridge here. But that's not great because it's not the same on the other side, but we could do just a cap and worry about it later. That's kind of crappy, right? Yeah, that's kind of crappy. Okay, so where's the... Let's do it anyways. No, we can't because it's on a different depth. Okay, so we need to get these edges here. Oop. Whatever, the stack is collapsed. It's over. I don't care. Okay, so let's grab these edges here. Actually, these ones in the front here. There is some crap under my mouse. And of course I can't get it because if you've been following along, I'm handicapped as shit. So if I put this mouse down, I'm probably not going to be able to grab it again. So we're just going to go with it. Okay, so let's turn on our snapping tool. Let's snap this extrude right to there. And we're just going to cheat now. So let's just weld these vertices in the corners because we brought those down. So just weld those guys. Weld is around here somewhere. There it is. Buttons kind of move. All right, now we can cap this and then we can just cut and like save the, just save the detail for later. So this is now an opening. You can see it's a border because it's welded all the way around. All right, so we'll just do a cap. And then we can kind of fill in the right way to do those vertices later. But the thing is, we want that fretboard to stay exactly where it is, okay? The fretboard is super important because it tapers, and if we move this edge like up and down, like look at that, it's off the axis, right? So we need to make sure those stay in place. So let's not monkey with those. But, we need to like cut this in so that it looks good. We might do that after the fact because we've still got some stuff to do. Like we got to cover up the back, right? This looks janky. So for now, like I said, we could just do one of these. Looks like all our edge loops look nice. There's a lot more geometry here than there was before, and we can hide a lot of those edge loops in the back. And that's going to take a little bit of time. Ooh, that would actually be a great segment into the next lecture. Okay, so I'm just going to cap this for now. So let's just do a cap. And next time, I'm going to show you how to eliminate edge loops. Yay! It's going to be awesome. It's a very important thing to do. So, for instance, we got extra edge loops now going around this way. And it's like, okay, where's this edge going to go? Well, that one could go there, but then that one's going to go there. Like, okay, so this is the dividing line of the back. So maybe we'll go like that. And then, okay, that looks good right there. And then, okay, does that go there? Well, what does that mean? You mean then we got to do this, I guess? And then what now? Like maybe that? Well, that sucks, right? I mean, if we're going to smooth this thing and it wants to look good, we need to add in some more edge loops. Okay. The same thing for the other side, right? Like, this is like there's so many more edges here, right? So, okay, that's something. Maybe that's four-sided. I guess that's four-sided, but then what's up with this? I guess that's technically terrible. Yeah, see, you just get in trouble. So, because we're going on an hour and a half and I'm hungry. We're going on an hour and a half. The problem is these edge loops aren't, I mean, these are all triangles, right? They don't have proper edge flow. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to pop around here and really work with eliminating edge loops or creating edge loops because we want these smooth bits. And in fact, we might add a couple more so that we don't get this pinching right here because that looks kind of janky. And not to mention these edges we got to build in here. So this is just part of the issues that we have when we go through this. Now, if we turbo smooth this thing, it's probably not going to look too great. So let's turbo smooth, turn on smoothing groups. I mean, I guess, but looks like some vertices aren't welded. I mean, if you're not looking, let's just go back in here. Let's make sure everything is welded up. All the vertices are welded. Good enough for now. And then let's see what we have for smoothing groups. So if I were to go like by angle, so this would be a nice smoothing group to keep. So let's give this its own what the hell am I talking about? Smoothing group. There we go, right there. Let's just clear all that. Let's give it one smoothing group. Okay. Now it kind of looks okay. Now let's get out of this mode and see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks a little bit better, but like I said, that spot creates some mega pinching, right? You can even see it. It just kind of warps the light. I mean, it's close, and thank God the front and the back are cool, right? Like, let's just zoom out. Let's just zoom out and then give it a render. And I mean, it's close, but the details, the devil's in the details, right? Like we want it to look, oh, it's just janky right here. Like let's look at that. Oh my God. Like look at that. There's some crunching in there because we just capped it off. We didn't even give it the right triangular properties. And up here, it's just a little wanky, janky. So again, these are the edge loopings that we're going to have to take care of. And we're going to try to make it look better next time. I don't want to do any steps without you. Okay, so I'm not going to do any of this without you being here. So I'm just leaving it as is, except for this. I'm going to maybe make sure that this front piece is one smoothing group. I'm just picking them at random. I'm not even trying. Okay, so now, yeah, it's not great. We're really going to have to work on this corner here. You can see if we zoom in, you can see that we need a little bit more care and attention. This might need to be its own smoothing group so it stays really sharp. And then it blends into the rest of it very nicely. I mean, from afar, sure, but like I said, we got this ugly cap that we just plopped in there, right? Like, look at this cap. Oh, God. Oh, no. I got this large selection right here. Like, look at that. That's a disgusting N-gon. Look at that thing. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is a 13-sided N-gon. if you're following along, patch it out. See if you can work on the edge loops around. Make your edge loops better. Ooh, that's a nice angle. Look at this picture right here. Ooh, nice little highlight. But again, this is not smooth, so it looks a little janky. So let's actually see what it looks like out of polygon mode. Yeah, I mean, it's looking nicer, but yeah, just got some jankiness here. We got to really work out that smoothness. But I think we're in good shape. We're in good shape for the next. I mean, if this is like your first couple models, I guess I picked a crappy one to start with for you. Um, but we'll piece this together quickly. It's just I gotta do it in chunks, and I didn't really plan ahead. I didn't really have a syllabus for you. My apologies. All right, so that's it for today. Just gonna pop over to my big fat face. Listen to Iron Reagan. I don't get any money for telling you that, but you should do it anyways. Um, I think they're cool, and if I think they're cool, they must be sort of cool. All right, so today, just more modeling of the body. Not much to talk about. Merging two shapes without Booleaning, without using a Boolean operator. I don't think Booleaning is a word. Um, it's important to be able to take two shapes, smash them together, and then come up with a nice way to weld them together based on the coordinates of, in this case, the neck and the body, right? So the neck and the body were two separate pieces. There's a halfway point, or, getting those edges close, and then lining up the edges, coming up with how many edges do we want around the back, how many faces. Like I said, 2, 4, 8, 16. I went with a 16-sided polygon, so the back was 8. And anyways, it's just stuff like that that will help you down the line, because the mathematical equation that 3D programs use to subdivide surfaces is by 4. And so if you keep those subdivisions within that power of 2, you're going to have better, nicer looking topology, and it's just strategies to get that right. So I'm going to stop rambling now and eat some food. Let me pop this on. Oh, nope, not that one. That one. If you like what I do, come back. If you don't like what I do, don't come back. Yeah, that's about it. Take care. See you next time. We're going to do more. Cheers.